That one for me? The Lord be with you. I guess I don't have to stand quite that close, huh? Welcome to our Best Practices for the Journey Forum Seminar, whatever we're calling it. I'm Nancy Peterson. I made my weekend 183 in Minnesota back in August of 1992, and I sat at a round table.
And my name is Steve Gielda, and I attended Men's Rainbow Weekend number 33 in the fall of 1998, and I sat at a round table with the name of Matthew.
What we're going to do this afternoon is we're going to revisit our small group discussions from yesterday and today. If you recall, Rofesser did the first session, which was Living the Journey. And we're not going to touch on that one because that was really more for you personally in your growth and in your spiritual walk. We will be focusing on sharing the journey, which Larry Witham presented, and strengthening our journey together, which Randy Mullen presented this morning. We will be discussing specific best practices and how to implement those practices within your community. And during that time, what we'd like you to do is to take, I put paper on your table, and we're going to have a little Decuria poster party. But I want you to take that paper and put it portrait style and draw a line through the middle of it, because you're going to put make two posters. We want you to create a poster either depicting your plan to implement these best practices or list your plan step by step. And then we will have a short Decuria afterwards with a few tables coming up and talking.
So any questions about what we're asking you to do? What's that? Which way is portrait?
Up and down.
Whatever, really.
You can do it whichever way you want.
Whatever way, we'll give you more room to make a poster. How about that? And if you feel and you want to do it front and back, that's okay too.
Okay.
So, any other questions about what we're asking you to do? One more time. So, in real simple form, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to show you these best practices. So, you're going to be given 15 minutes to talk about these three best practices. Choose one or more if you feel it's necessary. Talk about it and draw a poster on how to implement this best practice. Okay? So what are either the steps to implement that, and you can simply list them out, one through whatever, or you can draw a poster, which can be kind of fun, because we're going to have you come on up here and you can share your poster. But go ahead and take a look at these three best practices. And these best practices came, by the way, from your documents that you guys filled out yesterday morning. Okay? And what we simply did was read through all of them, simply grab 3 of them. I mean, there are a lot of great best practices. We simply just grabbed 3 of them, put them up here, choose 1 or 2 of those, talk about it, and then draw a poster on how you're going to implement that. Make sense? What's that? Well, you're going to do a second poster, which is all about this one. Okay? We'll talk about that in just a minute. But for right now, we're going to stay on this one. So start sharing the journey that Larry had talked about. So these are 3 best practices that we have chosen from all 20 tables that we have here. Choose one of these 3. Draw a poster. Talk about it and draw a poster. You got 15 minutes starting now.
Okay, folks. If I can have your attention, we'd like to move on now. And can't wait to see all those wonderful things you guys have down on your sheets for best practices and how you're going to implement. Now we're going to move on to the message we had this morning, which was strengthening our journey together. And again, there are 3 best practices that we pulled out, and you can see them there. And we'd like you to choose one of them, Decide which one you're going to choose, talk about it as a group, and figure out how you're going to implement the one you choose. And again, we'll give you about 15 minutes. Thanks.
All right. And so let them know how we're going to do this. We're just
Okay, folks, we're moving into the sharing time now. What we'd like to do is to have a group who's selected, back on this one, sharing the journey, a group that's selected best practice number 1, which is better educate the purpose of sponsorship. Use the sponsorship checklist. Which group who chose that would like to come up? Okay.
Stand here. You want to start? You want me to start?
You want me to start?
Yeah, I think so. And that way, if anyone wants to
I'm not
add
gonna be able
anything.
to see it, so.
Yeah, so you'll
Let's
just have to
say who
explain
you
it.
are and where you're
Okay.
from.
Group
All
and
right.
first name. Give your group and then your first names.
Our group is
You know what
Yeah,
I do
like
on the
when you
weekend?
can-
Carney, whatever
Go
that
ahead.
is.
Lake
Lake
Harney.
Harney.
Lake Harney, and I'm Sarah Smith. Go ahead.
I'm Chris Rasmussen.
Diane LaFosse. Bonnie Fries.
And the Paul Meister.
We said Lake Harney. Lake Harney. Lake Harney. I have no idea where it is, but somebody here knows.
Somebody must
We're
know.
over there.
The first thing we wanted to point out is that there's a difference between a chain and a rope. If one link of the chain breaks, it fails. A rope has many strands. So when you decide to sponsor somebody, don't make it an individual effort. Incorporate your reunion group with you when you start your prayer and selecting somebody. And it's most important to know your responsibilities before you start. And then, don't invite them on a weekend. Invite them on a lifelong journey. This sets the stage for when they come off the weekend that they're not off the hook. And they need the support on the weekend and throughout the weekend. And it's really hard to do that if you're working the weekend and you're the sponsor. And you need to be a model in your life if you're going to sponsor somebody and expect them to be participating in reunion group. You need to be in a reunion group. You need to be doing Bible study, and you need to be doing prayer, and you need to be doing action someplace outside in the real world. Anybody want to add to that?
I think you pretty much covered it. You got it. Absolutely. Thank you.
Poster?
Oh, we have to show it. You can't really, it's,
The
Pray, individual and group. It's all the bullet points that I just gave you. Pray. Not just an individual, but a group. The more people that are praying, the more powerful the prayer. Know your responsibility. Pray. Invite them on a journey and pray. And support them on the weekend and pray. And be a model in your life of the Via de Cristo model of piety, study, and action. And pray.
One other thing. This is the fourth day. Much more. It goes on and on and on. So It's the most part about being a sponsor.
Good, thank you. Bring your posters up, but we will post them so everybody can look at them and actually see them. Which group did, number 2, develop a plan to communicate purpose of VDC to local churches? Who would like to come up? Okay. Okay, he beat you. Minute discussion and a minute poster. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time.
Oh, we're fast. We're fast.
Introduce ourselves.
Name your table and just.
Uh-oh. Who's our table? Okay.
Florida Everglades,
Your name.
Jim Glander.
Kim Brownlow.
Doug LaFosse.
Denise Chrysler.
Let's just do the poster and you explain.
Well, we decided God had to be first. God's at the top always. Prayer. And then we thought, find a pastor, friend a pastor, bring a friend and a pastor to VDC.
Thank you. How about a group that did create a reunion group database? Come on up. Okay, you guys want the name of your group, name of your table, each of your first names, or last, I don't care. And then you got a minute to do your poster.
Okay. We are from the table of Rainbow Stream. My name is Karen.
Beth.
Ted. Smart Alec.
I'm Ruth.
And I'm Steve.
Okay, we talked about.
You have to say ooh first.
I already did. I have no idea what that was about. Anyway, the place to start is your secretariat. And then you go out to each of your churches, and hopefully you know a representative, the secretariat knows a representative of each of the churches to find out who's in a reunion group. And then you find out who's in a reunion group. And then you figure out who's not in a reunion group. And you give them opportunities with the Holy Spirit to find a reunion group. And you remember that no one should be isolated or left behind.
There's stairs on this side.
I'm Fran, and we're Miami Heat. Yeah, Miami Heat. We're Miami Heat.
I'm Dottie.
I'm Wheezy. Loretta.
And I'm Bob.
And who's going to talk about the discussion?
I guess I had. I was the one that said, pick us, and I got to talk. Okay. We picked, where are you at?
This is the one you picked.
Oh, we picked number 3. Okay. Tell them about National Pastors Week. Okay, that's a good one. I'll tell them. We picked number 3 because we know how
important pastors really are to us, even though we kid a lot about them, don't we, Jerry? Yes, we do. And so our discussion kind of fell to the fact that how many of you know that October is Pastor Appreciation Month? Good. And that's what we talked about, is the importance of not just appreciating them on the weekends or on Sunday, but to set aside a special time and invite the pastors that have made a weekend, that have served on a weekend, and those that may never have heard of a weekend. And that would also spur some conversation amongst all of them, of those that haven't heard of it, to find out what it's all about and have an application handy.
So what we thought a great time to do that is to invite them to an October Ultrea. And so we made an invitation. It says, "You are special. We want to celebrate you." And when you open it, it says Pastor Appreciation Celebration, and gives the date, where it's at, RSVP, and then on the back what they can expect. Just for you, fellowshipping, music, chapel, prayer, food. We did this for you, just for you.
Give everybody a round of applause. Good job.
Like this?
How many of you guys, when you saw everybody getting up to introduce themselves, brought back to the Mickey Mouse Club? You saw everybody stepping forward? Annette. Hubby. Joe. So it was kind of funny. Everybody was popping up there. Good job, all of you. A couple of things. Some of you guys were asking, can we get copies of these best practices? And yes, all of the best practices that you guys have on your table, on those documents, so we had those pieces of paper that we've been collecting each time, will be collected again, and then they're going to be kind of collated and put into a document that you will find under the tab on our NLS website where it says annual meeting. So you'll click onto that annual meeting where you'll see other presentations from this event, but also those best practices will be there as well. Leave your posters here, because we're going to take your posters and we're going to post them around what we've been using kind of as that fellowship hall. You'll be able to look at them all during this evening's social, okay? And if you can take them home and frame them if you want to, yes. So, that's it.
Thank you very much. Wait.
This is my last chance. Okay, so in just a little bit, we got dialogues. So the dialogues that are happening are hosting an annual meeting. I hope that people are considering 2014 will be there and that I won't be by myself. The spiritual director dialogue, post-weekend dialogue, newsletter dialogue, rediscover, recommit, and fundraising are the dialogue sessions.